Hello, and welcome back to this week's QTV News Update. I'm Stephen Philippi.
And I'm Colleen McCormick. On this week's update, we'll hear parting words from QU's most recent housing director, and we get the scoop on some major changes coming to one of the most popular places on campus. But first, a dangerous situation that college students often deal with is sexual assault and relationship violence. Is relationship violence and rape a big concern on our campus? Do students know what to do and where to turn if they are experiencing this kind of problem? The Centers for Disease Control reports that 19% of undergraduate women have experienced an attempted or completed sexual assault since she began college, and that statistic may be lower than the actual percentage. According to QU counselor Molly Dunn Steinke, sexual assault is the least reported act on any college campus. More than 85% of students who deal with this type of violence know their perpetrator, which often contributes to the lower reports of violence to the authorities. If you are in a situation where you see dating violence or are in an abusive relationship yourself, the first step you should take is to talk to someone.
If you feel like something, you just use your common sense. If you see something, you hear something, you feel like something isn't happening the way you think it should, then open your mouth and say something, whether that's coming to me, coming to the security, talking to your professor, or talking to somebody else in student affairs. Opening your mouth is so important.
Steinke also wants to remind students that it is important to be cautious all the time rather than to wait for something bad to happen. There is no need to be living in fear, but it is always better to be safe than sorry.
This week, Quincy University says goodbye to an important community member. Director of Residence Life and Community Standards, Larissa Jericho, is heading to Louisiana to start a new chapter of her life. She will be working in an area outside of student affairs and plans to focus more on simply living life. Jericho had some parting words for the QU community.
I just wanted to say thank you. I have been here for about a year and a half, and it's been a really great experience. I've enjoyed working with our students. I have and will continue saying that they're the most respectful students that I've ever worked with, and it's been very much appreciated. I've enjoyed my time here, and I am sad to leave.
Quincy University may be gaining some new students next fall, thanks to an arrangement between QU and Benedictine University at Springfield. With the market for adult learners continuously growing, Benedictine University has decided to end its undergraduate program and focus solely on adult students. After this decision was made, Quincy University announced that it would cost match the tuition and grants given to Benedictine students. QU now serves as the only undergraduate Catholic university in the Roman Catholic Diocese of Springfield and plans on welcoming transfer students from Benedictine with open arms.
One of the main goals for Quincy University is to make this transition as easy as possible for any Benedictine student that wants to transfer to Quincy University. This is a very emotional time for them. This is a place that they called home, their university.
Coming up, how to prepare yourself for winter and a big addition coming to campus.
And I'll take a look at our upcoming mild forecast. Stay with us.
You know, Andrew, every week we host a podcast talking about Chicago Bears football, and us as co-hosts, I feel like we're a lot like Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey as a tandem.
You're right. You're more so like Alshon Jeffrey because you're an up-and-coming star, and I'm like Brandon Marshall because you know I like to speak my mind.
And you can hear both of us speaking our mind about Chicago Bears football every Wednesday on the Bears Cast, hosted by myself, Ethan Cowgill, and Andrew McCulloch on Channel 97 or on QUTV's Facebook page.
And as always, Bears fans, bear down.
Welcome back. The Rotary Club of Quincy recently donated $25,000 to Quincy University to begin the process of creating the Quincy Rotary Centennial Park. The park will be located right here on campus next to Friars Field, just west of 20th Street near College Avenue. The park will feature various exercise stations situated along a walkway leading onto campus. The Rotary Club also plans to make a second $25,000 donation within the next few months. It is part of the $158,000 financial pledge for the two community projects it's supporting in celebration of the Rotary Club's 100th anniversary in 2015. The goal is to have the park completed by April, with weather permitting.
Speaking of weather, To keep warm during severe cold this winter, wear multiple layers of clothing on your upper body and lower body to prevent frostbite.
If you have numb extremities, a lot of times they'll start looking white. They can look even like a burn. They can, actually your skin can turn black. It can be really bad, so you have to be really careful when you're out in the cold.
Wear a good pair of winter boots that are insulated and make sure they are 2 sizes bigger in case additional insulation is needed. Proper socks are a must to make sure your feet will stay warm for the duration of the time that you are outside. Also, wear a base layer like long johns to keep your legs toasty warm. Wool hats and insulated gloves will help keep your body temperature where it needs to be. Lastly, make sure to have a proper winter coat to wear, such as ski jacket or a wool coat to beat the cold. These items will protect you from freezing outside. It's hard to believe that it's still fall with these freezing temperatures this week. There is good news, as it looks like we are in for a brief warm-up. Steve is in the Weather Center with more with the latest. Stephen?
Thanks, Sarah. And you know, you might have a lot of people say this year that a polar vortex is just an awful lot of snowfall coming and hitting us this year, but honestly, it's a lot more complicated than that. And you can see that with this video provided by the Weather Channel that it's really complex. And altogether, a polar vortex is just a circulation of Arctic air that in the winter can be as cold as 80 degrees below zero. That's as cold as the average temperature on Mars. The polar vortex is a huge circulation, constantly changing its shape like a giant amoeba, and can span several thousand miles. Ordinarily, the polar vortex is tightly wound around the North Pole. That's because it's fenced in by the polar jet stream, a massive river of air high in the atmosphere that can measure 300 miles wide and whips along up to 200 miles an hour. But when this jet stream weakens, the polar vortex can release bursts of Arctic air into the mid-latitudes. As a result, the Arctic air from the polar vortex can spin out across much of the U.S., even as south as Florida, resulting in temperatures of 20 to 30 degrees below average. And when you factor in wind chill in some places like Minneapolis, the Arctic air inside the polar vortex can make it feel colder than 40 below zero. And that's colder than the average January temperature at the summit of Mount Everest. And so, you know, guys, I mean, when people say that there's going to be a polar vortex hitting us, now you can say, I mean, well, is it colder than the summit of Mount Everest in January? I don't know. Little weather nerd fact for you. Anyways, we're going to head on into our week-long forecast here. We've got partly cloudy skies, 41 degrees, and then heading on into our Saturday, we've got rainy clouds that day, and it's 55 degrees, so you might want to bring an umbrella with you on that day. And you know, the rain's going to hit us again on Sunday here. And that's going to be with 54-degree temperatures, so it's just kind of a blah weekend, but at least we're in the 50s, so maybe you might be able to get outside and, well, I can't really enjoy in that rain. So, well, we'll just skip on to our Monday, hope it gets better. We got 41 degrees, partly cloudy skies. Tuesday hitting up with 39 degrees, partly cloudy, overcast skies on your Wednesday, 43 degrees, then hitting our Thursday with 39 degrees. And that will wrap up your week-long forecast. Now we're going to head on to our Farmer's Almanac. We're going to take a look and see what it's like for the winter season this year. As you can see, we've got mild to dry temperatures all across the West Coast. So if you're from the West Coast back home, you're pretty much good to go, as most years are. But then we hit the Midwest territory, and you can see cold to dry. And, you know, there's not going to be a whole lot of snowfall in this area. But then when you hit closer to the East Coast, you'll see here that Quincy, Illinois is right about here. And that is right outside of the cold, the snowy temperatures that we're going to be receiving here. So Quincy's going to get an awful lot of that snowfall and maybe some of that polar vortex issue that the Farmer's Almanac has been talking about for so long. Then we hit into our East Coast, and, you know, we'll just get flurries all across. And, you know, I've heard that snowfall temperatures are going to be up to about 6 feet of snow on average for most East Coast cities. And so that's something that you definitely will want to work out for. Now we're going to head on over to our sledding hot spots of the year forecast. And you know, I mean, there's an awful lot of great places in order to go sledding here in Quincy, and I found 2 of the best golden spots that you can find. And so on our map that's going to be pulled up here in a second, you'll see that Berrien Park is just a few blocks away from Quincy University. So if we have Quincy University right down here, and we've got Berrien right here, you just got to travel straight on up over, and you'll hit Berrien Park, and you know that's got some great places. And you know, with South Park here, we've got 12th Street running down right down here. And so 18th Street would be right on over here, so just follow 18th on down to 12th Street. Head on down to South Park. You're going to enter right in about here. You're going to follow the loop-de-loop all the way down, and then you're going to hit this creek bed. So this creek bed right here, this is an old Quincy secret, all right. You're going to hit this creek bed, and you're going to cross over, and there's this huge hill that's right over here that you're going to go sledding towards. And it's about 2 acres wide or so, and it's just a great spot in order to get some friends and go sledding for the entire afternoon, maybe wrap it up with some nice hot chocolate in the very end of the day. And so those are your sledding hotspot territories of the week. And, you know, you don't always have to sit inside in order to enjoy the winter weather. You can get outside and do some sledding. I'm going to toss it back to you.
Thanks, Stephen. There's more to come here on this week's QUTV News Update. We'll get a look into Hawk Athletics and get the latest on those $2 million changes coming to Quincy's main dining room. We'll be right back.
QUTV is more than a news outlet.
1 in 5 undergrads work at least 35 hours a week year-round.
Students involved with QUTV learn life lessons, create lasting memories, and gain the experience needed to succeed in future careers.
Students need to be involved with QUTV as a viewer or as a participant because we need to know what's going on around our campus.
Knowledge is powerful, and QUTV News serves to inform not only the students, but the Quincy University community as a reliable and powerful news network.
Welcome back. The Hawks look for a fast start to the basketball season.
And the football team wraps up a winning season with a close game. Sports Director Ethan Cowgill has the latest in sports.
Thanks, guys. It's been a busy week for fall sports here at Quincy University. And for the men's soccer team, after dropping their first game of the season in the GLVC finals, they would look to rebound. And the road to redemption for the men's soccer team would be against a Drury team that gave them their toughest victory of the season in the round of 32. And hosting the game here at Legends Stadium, they would take the field. Jordan Roberts is going to pass it right to the middle, the header, and then the Kaj right there almost gets a close call. And then we're going to see right here, it's going to go to Roberts again. Can't quite get it, but on the rebound, Arton Amini, he's going to get fouled, and they're going to get a penalty shot. The Hawks will get a penalty shot. Steve McInerney, he's going to convert right here. The goalie sees right where it's going, but still can't stop it. That's going to give the Hawks the 1-0 edge. But after that, they would tie it up. Drury would tie it up. Looking to convert here, you would see Amini with the clairvoyant pass behind the back. He's going to give it to Dokaj, who's going to swoop it right in there. That's going to give him his 9th game-winning goal of the season. The Hawks would go on to win this game 2-1. They're going to go ahead and they're going to face Saginaw Valley State University in Oklahoma in the NCAA tournament. And after a season for the men's football team that started off 2-3, they would look to rebound. They would rally and get 4 straight victories, and they would cement their first winning season in years. This team, a far cry from the 2-9 team last year, would close the season out against rival McKendree. And here we go. Before the game, the seniors being honored playing their last game. Ike Anike would be honored first team GLVC honors, along with running back Chris Harris, freshman of the year. But unfortunately for the Hawks, they could not stop the rushing game. That would be Isaac Fisher. He's going to get a rushing touchdown right there on the first drive. But then on the next drive, Nick Lonergan on the play action. He's going to air it out to Eric Poindexter. He's going to get the big touchdown reception right there, tied up 7-7. But again, problems defensively with the running game. As you can see here, the Hawks have trouble tackling the running back for McKendree. And then on the very next play, it's Isaac Fisher again with the option. He's going to see the play here. It's going to break down. He doesn't like what he sees, and he's just going to go ahead and take this in for the 31-yard touchdown run. And McKendree would go on to win this one 28-21. Hawks fall, but still maintain a winning season. Nick Lonergan, over 330 yards passing, and Eric Poindexter, nearly 200 yards receiving as well. And for men's basketball, it's about no excuses and producing a winning product on the field. And a top priority for Coach Marty Bell's team, if they want to make it back to the GLVC tournament, is producing wins early and often. And the team atop of those priorities, that would be McMurray College. And continuing the trend of home games at Quincy University, we're going to see right here Dalton Hoover with the block. Thomas Jackson goes baseline, gets it going right there. The interior game would be the Hawks' bread and butter tonight. And then Herm Sr. right here on the steal, easy transition points for Quincy University. And then right here we're going to see Thomas Jackson, easy floater, nice penetration there. That would not be all for the Hawks. Godson Anagwe right there caps it off with the alley-oop. The Hawks would go on to win 96-67. They would go above 500. A great game for Dalton Hoover, 6 for 7 from the field, 4 denials, and he was playing great inside the paint. And then moving on, women's basketball also played. They maintained their perfect record on the year. They beat Missouri Western 77-70. Maggie Cunningham putting up a 20-burger on them. They are going to look to maintain that perfect record as the season goes on. That's going to do it this week for Hawk Sports coverage. I'm going to toss it back to the news desk.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanksgiving is next week, and students are anxiously awaiting their quick break before finals. If you're planning on remaining on campus, you can still get a home-cooked meal on Thanksgiving Day. The Friars will be celebrating Thanksgiving together at 1 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day and are inviting any students who are on campus to join them. However, you must RSVP in order to attend. Sign up through Student Affairs when you gain approval to stay on campus over the break. Remember, you could face a fee to your student account if you stay on campus without letting Residence Life know.
Next fall, students can expect a different dining experience on campus. In exchange for a contract extension, Chartwell's Dining Services has made a $2 million donation to renovate the main dining room. The MDR hasn't seen many upgrades since the 1970s. The renovations come on the heels of improvements to dining options that include healthier meal options, extended meal plans, hours, and a cafe on North Campus. Well, construction is expected to take place of the summer and be completed for the start of the 2015 to 2016 school year. That's it for this week's QUTV News Update. And as always, make sure to tune in online on Facebook or Channel 97 on campus for more news anytime. For the entire QUTV team, I'm Stephen Philippi.
And I'm Colleen McCormick. We'll be back before the break with a QUTV After Hours episode discussing the latest news both on and off campus. Goodbye, everybody.